Hi, Christy here. Today I thought I would talk a little bit about laughter. I'm in my Akashic records, and it's kind of funny that I have a cattail. I did not plan this. She seems to know we need to laugh today. So here I am in the records talking about laughter and how it's expansive and how it's releasing and how it kind of puts more air into the weave, if you will. It makes things less tight, less rigid, less difficult. Even in the most difficult of times, if we can find something to lighten it up, to laugh about, to find some humor somewhere, that is like a little miracle. So one of the things that comes up as I look around in here is funny, not funny. And I'll say that to clients, not infrequently actually. Like, oh, funny, not funny, this is true. Like, okay, this is sort of the good news, bad news, but in a way that's more palatable. So, we all have these situations that are not funny at some level and hilarious in another. Right? Perversely funny, like, oh, and that just happened. That was one of my favorite things. I still do that to this day. Like, something happens and it's super frustrating and I can laugh and be like, well, that happened. Ah. So call me crazy. I'm not trying to like wallpaper with positive thinking or anything like that. Let's just cover over everything. It's more like, all right, this is going on. Can I not take it too seriously, not take myself too seriously, not get bogged down in the details, not get overwhelmed, just kind of stay, I don't know if above it's the right word, but they're showing me things like floating above. When I was a child, there's probably some meaning to this, I used to fly in my dreams and I would swim flying. So I would be swimming over people's heads. They're showing me that kind of image here where, okay, we're above where it's the most difficult and we're floating along, finding our way, sort of bobbing along the river of life. And how good does that feel? So much better than, gotta bear down, grind it out. Ooh. So along that, the same vein is the idea of sarcasm. I was the queen of sarcasm in high school. I admit it. I thought I was, really funny, and there is a weird way in which it bonds you when you're, I don't know, not humorous in a light way, but humorous in a, like, I will be smarter than you are. I will be better than you are. I will belittle other people. I mean, that's really largely where the sarcasm came from. And as I'm looking, there's really, they're portraying like there's a sort of lighter sarcasm and there's sort of a darker sarcasm. So the sarcasm is kind of playful, kind of silly, not with intent to harm. Whereas the dark has this biting, bearing down on harming someone and hurting someone in a way that makes you feel superior by implying that they're inferior, which is not fun. Irony, it's things that are ironic can be funny and humorous. I also love puns, which are completely ridiculous sometimes, but also can be silly. I mean, silly is a really great form of funny because it takes us away from being so important, being so buttoned up, being so proper, just allowing ourselves to let our hair down, so to speak, and being in the moment. So I'm a huge advocate for silly. Just gonna put that out there. Anything that helps us be playful, light, joyful, laughing, smiling, bringing a sense of what can connect us in a joyful, elevated way. Ooh, like, of course that's what we want. We don't want to be like, oh, let's all be miserable together. No. This is, how can we go through this human existence, even with all the hard stuff? I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of that going on right now. But how do we stay joyful, stay connected in a way that feels better instead of a sharing of misery? And speaking of that, I mean, that brings me to the idea of the Schadenfreude. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, I took German in high school. You couldn't tell, but I did. And that's like joy in the misfortunes of others, which really isn't true joy, right? It's just sort of I think it's sort of a power thing. Like you're above them and they're below you when you're like, oh yay, bad stuff happened to you. Ew, that's not joyful. How about yay when good things happen to people, to celebrate it no matter what? And this whole thing of, being joyful if someone's suffering just doesn't make sense. It's just sort of an oxymoron from what I'm seeing here. I mean, I've never looked at it before in the records, but there is a sort of alternative here of being joyful for others when they do well, and also being able to celebrate when things turn our way. So I think there's a big difference between celebrating people's difficulties and celebrating what we see as positive indicators for humanity. So like, I do not want to see people who have a different political belief than I do to be suffering. Like, you got it, you deserve it, you voted for this. Like, none of that feels good. I would love for people to go, oh, I see the world in a new way. Yay, it's your way. Who wouldn't love it? Who doesn't love it when people like come around to seeing your view? But I don't want to wish harm on anyone. And I don't want anyone wishing harm on me, right? Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Yeah, let's do the thing that feels good, which is let's all try to benefit. Let's all, rising tide lifts all boats. Let's move toward what we want collectively. Let me just see if there's anything else around here. So it's funny that they're talking about laughter as a muscle. Not surprisingly, something to exercise, something to keep limber, something to, work seems like an over dramatization of it, something to play at, something like, how can I find more humor in life? And maybe it's, kittens doing biscuits on their mother, or things that just make you. When I watch the quail here, I'm in Arizona, I watch the quail walk along, and the way they walk is so funny. I can't help but laugh. Last night I saw a whole troop of javelinas, which are in the peccary family, Peccary. So they look like a boar or a pig, but they're not. But they had the cutest little baby one. It was so cute. Oh my gosh, made me laugh. Made me like, wee, look at that little baby. I mean, they are homely animals. It was the cutest little baby. Anyway, so finding ways to bring some light, bring some laughter, and again, bring some air holes into the weave of life so we can enjoy and be more available for connection and more able to make a difference in the world. All right, that's it for me today. If you have anything you'd like me to explore in the records, feel free to put it in the comments, because I'm kind of enjoying these, and I hope you are too. Alrighty, I look forward to seeing you in the next video, and in the meantime, please go be brilliant.